What is going on, everyone? My name is Kevin, and today I'll be talking about the Samsung Galaxy S20. This is the most affordable current generation Samsung Galaxy S device. I got this phone much earlier than anticipated on pre-order, and I've got to say there's a lot to know about it before you think about going out and picking one up. We're going to be going over the main features of this phone, answering all of your important questions in my 1 week later review. Let's start with the features that set this apart from the much cheaper Galaxy phones. What stood out to me the most was the S20's display refresh rate. At 120Hz, it really is a big leap forward in terms of motion smoothness over the devices I've previously reviewed. Mobile games that support this refresh rate will be a pleasure to experience on this, and while the support isn't widespread from game developers, it is one of the aspects that certify this phone as future-proof. The display is ever so slightly curved around the edges. I actually like the curve this time around. It's not unwieldy or a cause of accidental touches. Finally, they found the right amount of curvature. This phone also has the highest pixel density out of any device in the Galaxy S lineup. It's 6.2 inches at a resolution of 3200 by 1440, and this whole panel is protected by Corning's Gorilla Glass 6. This, my friends, is what I wanted to see on every Galaxy phone that came out this year. It's top-notch protection, and speaking of notch, of course, there is none because we have the hole punch camera cutout. The Galaxy S20 has retained its on-screen fingerprint scanner, the micro SD card slot, IP68 rating. On the rear, we've got that impressive array of camera lenses, and it's impressive because we have optical image stabilization. Not only that, but also 8K video recording from that main rear lens. Curiously, there's 3 lenses total around the back. We saw more on the mid-range phones, but picture quality is really what matters most. I will of course show you photo samples later in this video, but before that, here's a tour around the phone. The backing material is like the front display, also Gorilla Glass 6, and it's going to be a lot more protective against scratches than Samsung's plastic on mid-range phones. Now, I have the Cosmic Gray variant of this phone. I hadn't seen it in person before I actually pre-ordered it, but now that it's in front of me, I gotta say, this is my least favorite shade of gray that could have possibly been put onto a phone. In retrospect, I would have gone with the Cloud Blue variant, but if you do want to go with this color, at least note that it is unified into the design of the phone. It's been put into the accenting antenna lines and the charging port. Around the sides, we have sturdy aluminum. Both the volume buttons and power switch are found on the right side of the device, which, due to the device's size, actually simplifies toggling these commands. Nothing is found on the left side of the phone, thankfully no Bixby button. On the top is where the micro SD and SIM card tray is found. It's time for a performance rundown. Inside my variant of the Galaxy S20 is the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865 chip. This is an octa-core chip, and it's paired with the Adreno 650 for graphics. I'm linking where to check out the phone for several regions in the description of my video. This includes North America, the UK, Nigeria, and India. When available, links will be added for Uganda, Kenya, and Ghana. I'm still on the search for a reliable retailer to recommend in East Africa, so my folks in Burundi, I got you covered, but it might take a bit longer. Anyways, I can confidently tell you that with my real-world performance of this phone, both the graphics and computing power of the phone has been very impressive. I can handle my favorite games at the top settings, and these are FPS games that are graphics-intensive games. No problem with lag at all. When it comes to app crashing though, it's an entirely different thing altogether. When I had just received the device, I had apps closing on me like crazy. This issue still persists when I have apps from the Play Store updating or installing in the background. It's really disappointing for a phone of this price, but I assume with software updates, this will eventually be resolved. Now, that catastrophe in the software department aside, opening apps and scrolling through the home pages are actually made very smooth by the high refresh rate panel. The multitasking ability of this phone is a strong suit thanks to its 12GB of RAM. It's also worth mentioning the storage of this phone, the 128GB of UFS 3.0 is blazing fast. The S20 is running Android 10 with Samsung's One UI, and I've praised One UI in the past. Here, the only thing I'm going to complain about is that app crashing. Besides that, I really am a fan of One UI. So thus far, this is mostly sounding very good and promising, but okay, here is the catch. 120Hz refresh rate has got to be one of my favorite features about the Galaxy S20, and unfortunately, it's only available on Full HD 1080p mode, which means you're sacrificing resolution for refresh rate, and it doesn't even stop there. You're also making a big sacrifice on battery life. Let's talk about that battery. The S20 is housing a 4000 mAh battery, same capacity that was found in the Galaxy A51. On here, it's 25 watt fast charge enabled, and we can power it up with a wireless charger. Not only is it able to charge on the dock, but it also has reverse charging for your accessories. With the included super fast charger, you can get this phone powered up from 0 to 100 in under 1.5 hours, which is much faster than using a wireless dock. My problem here is that on a full charge, the phone will only give you 3 to 4 hours of on-screen time with 120Hz feature enabled. Clearly, higher refresh rate is more taxing on the battery than the drain you get from extra display resolution. Now, with the refresh rate put onto the standard 60Hz on the S20, you will definitely have enough battery life to get through a full day's worth of screen on time. Aside from the included wall adapter and USB-C cable, my unit shipped with the AKG earbuds, but no TPU soft shell case was provided. Moving on to the rear cameras, this was another standout feature, and here I have not been disappointed. Photos look natural. Both the colors and processing are a big step forward from the S9 and the S10 that succeeded it. I would take this camera over the OnePlus 7s any day, and with the array of 3 cameras here and Samsung's photo modes, you won't be disappointed either. I got good results in low light, in daytime no overblown highlights, and that telephoto lens can bring your photography to new heights. Wide and ultra-wide lenses are expected on flagships in 2020. It's nice that we have these on the mid-tier phones, but here they're refined and they're actually usable for social media posts. We have the capability of super steady video recording. Equally important to that is 8K, which is new to me because I've actually never shot 8K footage before. But the idea behind this is to have as much resolution as possible to later showcase on your TV in a scale that's actually pleasant to view. If you want super slow motion, they've got you covered with 960 frames per second video recording and a more practical 4K option at 60 frames. The biometrics on this phone are nothing to complain about. The ultrasonic on-screen fingerprint scanner is placed well for those who have smaller hands too. This completes the package for people who want to have a reasonably sized phone that is still a flagship and can be used with one hand. All of these features make for a tough purchase decision at the end of the day. I think 120Hz on this phone is a bit ahead of its time. It makes a lot more sense on the S20 for instance, because it has 1000 extra milliamps on that battery. Now, if you really like the features like wireless charging and the reverse wireless charging features, all these things that are staples of the S lineup that won't be found on the Galaxy A series, I think this phone is seriously worth taking a good look at. There is a lot we get with this phone that won't make its way to the cheaper A series phones, but there is also a flip side to that. The A51 and A71 I have already reviewed have a headphone jack, they're dual SIM, and they have an extra camera lens to diversify your mobile photography shots. These devices are also less than half of the cost of the S20, which is why my comparison video of these phones is something that you do not want to miss. Now this here is not my final video about the Galaxy S20. Matter of fact, I'm working on my 1 month later review, which is going to be your full condensed guide for everything you want to know about this phone that I might not have gotten to talking about today in this video. The S20 needs to be compared to these mid-range A-series phones to see if it's really worth the extra money, so if you're excited for any of those comparison videos and the dedicated reviews of other phones you might not have even heard of, make sure you're subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, because YouTube doesn't even send out my videos in the sub feed most of the time, so I would really appreciate if you turned on that notification bell and also like the video while you're at it. Thank you so much for watching this one, and I will talk to you in the next video.